One of the greatest investments we can make is in our health. With good health, it's easier to have well-being in other areas of life. Hi, I'm Kevin Harrington. We all have a responsibility to ourselves and our families to take our health seriously. Join me in discovering the latest in this vital industry. This is Health Briefs. Developments in drug therapies are bringing new hope to us all. Let's go inside the field of modern medicine.
Developing new drugs for patients takes years of research and billions of dollars. Unfortunately, the clinical research phase, the longest and costliest phase, often runs behind schedule, costing millions of dollars in delay.
Gabrail Cancer Center is actively involved in clinical research. We have worked with PSI for many years and have always been impressed with the quality of our interaction. We have done 6 clinical trials with PSI's help and every time managed to build excellent collaborative relationship with PSI's clinical teams.
Clinical trials that fall behind schedule not only increase costs, they also delay the access patients have to new medicines.
Timing in clinical trials is extremely important. Patients are sick and they need the medicines as quickly as possible. The pharmaceutical industry spends billions of dollars developing these drugs, and they need predictable timelines of how long it will take to complete their trials. Most studies, unfortunately, run far behind, and at PSI, over 90% of our studies finish on schedule. This provides a great deal of assurance to our sponsors that the study will be completed on time, and the medicines will get to the patients as quickly as possible.
PSI is a contract research organization, otherwise known as a CRO. A CRO is an organization that performs clinical trials for the pharmaceutical, biotechnology, and medical industries. CROs offer drug sponsors the expertise of taking a new drug from conception to FDA and EMA approval without having to maintain a staff of their own.
Yet, we see the CRO's role as to keep control on the budget, timeline, and logistics of clinical trials. A single study can easily involve hundreds of centers around the world. We invest, perhaps more than the others, into planning of each trial we run.
Working mostly with infectious diseases, as well as neurologic and endocrine disorders, PSI strives for predictable timelines.
PSI actually compares very well with other CROs from the clinical trial site perspective. We have very long-standing relationships with these investigators. They trust us and we trust them, and it provides a great deal of predictability to the sponsors about how long their clinical trial will last.
Part of the challenge with staying on schedule is that the investigators who run clinical trials at hospitals are not full-time researchers. In fact, they are physicians who have their hands full to begin with. An important role of a CRO like PSI is to assist physicians by closely monitoring data for timeliness and accuracy.
The selection of the right countries and clinical trial sites is absolutely critical. The standards of care of medicine vary across the world, and the protocol has very specific requirements about the types of patients who are to be included. This study will not complete on time if you place the study in countries where the patients don't exist. So you have to find the ideal match between the patient population and the standards of care in the different countries and the clinical trial protocol and the objective that the sponsor is trying to achieve. When you do this, the trial becomes predictable and you can complete the study on time.
Every protocol that arrives at PSI receives a thorough evaluation by doctors of medicine from around the world. The company's feasibility division assesses each protocol and outlines potential challenges that may arise in various countries over the course of the trial.
Feasibility is looking at the scientific idea and its relation to the real world. We start looking at how a certain protocol can run in different countries, and all sorts of things come up. Availability of equipment, standards of care, differences in diagnostic, and the list goes on and on.
For its contribution to the industry, PSI has received top honors among global CROs in the biannual CenterWatch Global Investigator Site Survey report.
The top 5 attributes for the survey, and which were resulted in PSI's #1 ranking, were how professional, knowledgeable, and well-trained our monitors are, how organized and well-prepared our staff are, timely drug delivery, professional medical staff in clinical operations, and professional staff for escalation of issues and timely resolution.
We are determined to make good art of being a service provider in this industry. We care, and when we care enough, we raise the bar not only for ourselves, but for our customers, our investigators, our partners, and together in the end we serve well-being of patients.